Hello. All right.
Hello, Megan.
Welcome to episode 5 of Megan's Coding Corner. This is a series where we're going through the new Gatsby tutorial as the sections are being released so that you can see what it looks like in person if videos are more your thing. I'm Megan Sullivan. I'm a senior software developer at Gatsby, where I focus mainly on our documentation. And Generosa is on PTO this week, so stepping in, we have the illustrious Kirsten Lambertsen. Kirsten, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kirsten Lambertsen. If you haven't met me already or seen me in one of these things already, I am a senior product manager at Gatsby on the developer experience squad, which just so happens to be Megan's squad as well. So I have the good fortune of working with Megan at least 5 days a week.
Cool. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at part 5 of the tutorial. So if you've been following along, so far we've talked about React and plugins and Gatsby Cloud and Gatsby hosting. And last week we talked about the GraphQL data layer. So today's episode is going to be about transformer plugins and MDX. So it's going to build off of what we learned about GraphQL in the last section and teach you some more fun inner workings of how the data layer works. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to drop this link in the chat. The tutorial is on gatsby-docs/tutorial. And then part 5 is down here at the bottom. Real quickly, though, I'm going to go over what we did last time. There's a picture that I want to sort of review really quickly. And Kirsten, actually, if you want to join in and just share whatever stuff that you learned from following along with this part, if I forget anything. So this picture is basically what I want to focus on. So we've got the GraphQL data layer, which is where Gatsby stores all of your information from all kinds of different sources. The way that information gets into the data layer is with these plugins called the source plugin. So last time we looked at using Gatsby source file system to pull in data from the file system into the data layer. And then the way that you get information out of the data layer is through GraphQL queries. So we looked a little bit at how to create queries in a building block component using the use static query hook, and then how to pull data into a page component using a page query. So if you're interested in catching up on any of that, we've got a whole playlist of these. I should have had this open earlier, but there's a playlist of all of the, There's a playlist of all the old episodes of this stream, so you can check those out if you're interested. But yeah, I guess before we get started, there's also a couple of ground rules that I want to go over to make sure that everybody is on the same page and has the same expectations of how this is going to go. First thing I want to do is remind everybody that you belong here. So if something is confusing or doesn't make sense, that's on me, that's not on you. So feel free to ask a question in the chat. Let me know if I need to back up and explain something again. If I said the wrong words, which happens sometimes, let me know. I'm happy to clarify. And then also be kind to each other. So in the chat, just be nice. You can help each other out if you see that other people have questions and you have experienced something that maybe will help them. And also be kind to yourself. Nobody is born knowing any of this stuff. So we're all on different points of our learning journeys. So be sure to maintain a growth mindset and know that learning new things is hard, but you can do hard things. So all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So Kirsten, I'm going to add your screen to the stream here.
Cool.
Woo. Inception.
Whoops. And let's do
cool.
that.
Awesome. So you can see here in the browser sort of where we left off. If you go to the blog page, that's going to be what we look at.
I have a slight issue I need to fix before we start.
Yeah, sure.
I have the wrong thing. This is a whole different project. Yeah. Hello.
No worries.
Okay, let's just get rid of that right now. So I think I'm going to have to close that. Okay. And yeah, that's so funny that I didn't even notice that.
It's like, this is code, right? It's syntax highlighted.
Let's just open the right thing, shall we? Okay. A place called Gatsby. And
we've got a friend
take
in the
a
chat.
deep breath.
Hello,
There's Learn with Sully. Okay. This could be more. Now I need to do that whole thing all over again that we did before.
Yeah, if you press that green button.
Except I need to
you might have to actually
have this open.
Yeah, so if you click and I'm trying to think how to explain this.
Oh.
If you'll have to take this, is it okay if I add your?
Yes, whatever you need to do.
So just so that we're not like talking about things that nobody can see. Yeah. If you go back up to hover like where the menu bar would be with that red dot and the yellow dot and the green dot in the top.
This is in VSC?
No, in your browser. Basically what you have to do is take the other window out of full screen mode before you can.
Here we go. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now you can do the split screen mode again where you
all right, sweet.
Click and hold that.
Apologies, everybody. I learned how to do this today.
Yeah, we're learning about split screen. And then you can click the browser window.
So very cool that we want that one.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Pro tip. We learn about all kinds of things here on the Gatsby stream.
Getting to be like a damn good streamer.
There you go.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, cool. Great. So now let's go back into in the browser. Let's click on the blog. What is that? Page. Oh, you know what's happening? We're not running this locally. We have to start up the develop server.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Do you remember how to do that?
So I need to open my terminal here.
Yeah, you should be able to do it in that terminal that's at the bottom of the page.
Oh, right. It's right there. All right.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Visual Studio Code.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
Okay. And then it's just a little refresh. I'll take care of that, right? Yay!
Yeah. Okay, cool. Can you, if you do like Command plus on your browser, can you make the text bigger?
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
How's
there
that?
you go.
Okay.
Great. So this is what we did last time. We've built a blog post. We wrote a GraphQL query to pull in the names of our blog posts. And actually, if you go over into the sidebar in VS Code is a little bit small, but there's a, yeah, if you can, does a Command plus trick also work in there?
Oh, let's find out.
Huzzah!
I think it's making everything bigger. So now we have some really huge code, but
that's okay. So in the sidebar, there's your blog folder.
Yep.
So in here, we've got some MDX posts that we created. They're all empty right now. If you click in there, there's nothing in there. But if you go to now source/pages/blog, yeah.
Right.
So inside of our actual blog page, down at the bottom here, we've got this GraphQL query that we wrote. Yeah, on line 19.
Yep. Okay.
And so this pulls in all of the files and their names. And then if you scroll up a little bit, you can see where we render the list of all of those file names.
Gotcha.
So this is where we left off. And this is fine, but you know, we want our blog site to show our actual blog posts, which means a couple of different things. First, we have to write some content in our blog posts. And then second, we need a way to pull out the contents of our file in the inside of GraphQL. Because right now there's no way you can pull out the file name, but the all file field doesn't know anything about the contents of your file. It doesn't know how to process those. So what we're going to do today is learn about a new kind of plugin called a transformer plugin. So I'm going to switch back over to my screen real fast. And then I'm just going to go to part 5 in the sidebar here. So if you're following along, there's a picture in here that talks about transformer plugins. So I'm going to scroll down to that. So first, we're going to take a little bit of a deeper look at how the data layer works. So we know so far that you take source plugins to get data into the data layer, but what does that information actually look like once it's in the data layer? So data in the data layer is stored in nodes. A node is the smallest unit of information that the data layer can reason about. So different types of source plugins pull in data as different types of nodes. So the file system, Gatsby source file system, pulls in information about your files and stores it in the data layer as a file node. But that file node doesn't have all of the fields that we want. So what we need is something called a transformer plugin. And that's basically going to take the file node, take the data that's on those, that's in those fields from the file node, and transform it into a new kind of node called an Mdx node. And it'll be called whatever kind of node based on the transformer plugin. So today we're gonna use a plugin called gatsby-plugin-mdx. And that's going to specifically handle turning file nodes into Mdx nodes.
Cool.
And actually, I should say it doesn't, when I say that it transforms the node, it's not changing the file node itself. It's not going to affect the original file node. It's just going to create a new node, a new Mdx node based off of the file nodes, the original ones from the source plugin. Yeah. Hi, Reiko.
I understand.
We've got a friend in the chat. We're talking about transformer plugins today. So if you have any thoughts or tidbits that I'm missing or questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Okay. So Kirsten,
yes.
What questions do you have about this so far?
Nothing yet, just a warning that I'm not a big Markdown.
Not yet. But you will be by the end of this.
So if any of you out there don't write a lot of Markdown, you will feel very comfortable. You will be empathizing with my experience here. I will be needing a lot of help with Markdown.
Yeah, we're all learning. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch back over to your screen. If you want to go back to the code,
it's not doing it now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, try 3 fingers. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit so I can follow along with what we're doing. So the first thing that we're going to do is add some content to our blog posts. So the cool thing about Mdx, which is the plugin that we're going to use, is that Mdx lets you use Markdown and actually also React components inside of your text content. So
nice.
If you look at our index page, in the code. So the way that this is written right now is we've got all of the elements. So we've got the p tags, the opening and closing tags, and this static image component. And this is kind of messy to read for humans. If I'm writing a blog post, I don't really want to have to think at this technical level. I want to be able to think just about the words that I'm going to put on the page. So the nice thing about Mdx, and actually let me pull up the Mdx Docs. the nice thing about MDX is that it lets you use a format called Markdown, which is easier for people to read. So actually here, let me share my screen again one more time. So here, these are the Mdx docs. And you can see here that instead of, this is sort of like two examples side by side. So here at the bottom, you can see like what this content will look like in an HTML page. So you've got this like H3 tag. Oh, actually, sorry, I lied. This is all one example. So this is showing Markdown content. So here it's going to convert this pound sign or hashtag, whatever it's called, into an H1 tag. And this world that's wrapped in asterisks, it's going to make that show up as italics. And so if you have used like GitHub flavored Markdown in your PRs, this might look familiar. But the cool thing about MDX is that you can also inject JSX inside of your your Markdown.
It'll know what to do with that.
Yeah. Cool. So we're gonna go. Actually, let me pull up inside of this Markdown like little blurb in the tutorial. There's this doc that comes from MDX where you can see sort of what the different symbols will translate to in terms of
excellent
actual HTML elements. So I'll drop this in the chat.
Yeah, I might just open that.
Oh, hello, Rahul Prasan. Can you teach me how to add breadcrumbs in a Gatsby website? Not today. Today we're going over part 5 of the Gatsby tutorial. So if you want, you can tweet your question at the Gatsby JS Twitter account, and then we can post it in Slack and see if anybody can help. You can also check out our docs. Let me see. gatsbyjs.com/docs. And I'm just going to do a search here and see if there's, it looks like we've got a plugin, which is cool. So what is location data? I guess I'll drop this in the chat and see if this is helpful. But yeah, sorry. Today we're talking about transformer plugins and MDX. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to drop those in here too.
There's also our Discord. If you're not, just in case that's a place you'd like to start hanging out and asking questions and stuff. There's a lot of really, really strong Gatsby experienced Gatsby folks in the Discord.
Yeah, let me just make sure that I get a link to this. Okay, copy link.
Well done, well done.
Okay, so now I'm going to switch it back to your screen, and then we can go and actually add some MDX content to your blog.
Cool.
So if you open up one of your MDX files,
okay,
we're going to start by just putting some content in here, like whatever kind of words that you want.
Right.
No pressure.
Also, like just start typing some text?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We could also do like a lorem ipsum if you want.
This is a poem I wrote.
Oh, nice.
That's the beginning of it.
Nice. Okay, cool. So this is some content. So let's use some like Markdown formatting here. So if you want to, are there any words that you want to like emphasize?
Sure, why not? Let's emphasize the words that rhyme.
Nice.
Walk and talk.
Yeah. So if you want to make this bold or strong, you can wrap it in 2 asterisks. Yeah. And then let's see this one, if you wanted to make it, yeah, cool. So we'll have the rhyming words in bold, and then let's pick another word. You can make it
make that
italics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this will emphasize the text.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to do something like a list, like a list of things.
Let's do a list.
Yeah. So if you might have to put like a line of white space in between the paragraph and the list. But yeah, if you do, you can either do a single asterisk or a dash.
Either one will work?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a space, and then
We'll do the rest of the poem.
oh, nice. And then, yeah, another one. Nice.
Did I save the rest of it for other
elements no, this is
you'd
great.
Like to just play with?
Yeah. So let's before we add in posts to our other or content into our other blog posts, we're also going to do something. We're going to add something called frontmatter to this post. So frontmatter, you can think of it as like metadata or extra information about your post itself. Like it's not going to show up when you render the contents of your post, but it lets you give some extra information about your post contents.
And is this stuff that's like for Google search and that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like extra data that will get injected into the data layer for this node. So then you can like pull it out and do whatever you want with it.
Gotcha.
So like one thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a post title, and then that'll be a piece of information that we pull out and render on our screen or on our blog page instead of the file name.
Okay.
So the way that you add frontmatter is at the very top of your doc of your MDX file, you're going to do an opening and closing set of 3 hyphens. So dash, 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 and then a return, and then another set of dash, dash, dash.
Like that?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so now inside of that opening and closing tag, you are going to put whatever sort of key value pairs that you want. So it's basically like whatever data that you want, and then you just give it a key, which will be common across all of our MDX files.
Great.
So we can call it page title or just title. Yeah, and then you'll do a colon. Yep, and then you can write the name of your post.
Right.
Sweet. And then the other thing that we're going to do is add a date, just so that people will know when we posted this. If you have something like a technical blog and you want people to know like when this information was last updated.
Gotcha.
So the way that we're going to do a date is a little bit different. So inside of, you're going to have an opening and closing quotes, like the double quotes.
But is my key fine?
Yeah, your key is great. You can name them whatever you want.
Okay.
And then the way that we're going to do this is it's going to be like the year and then a dash and then 2 digits for the month and then a dash and then 2 digits for the date or like the day.
Today the 16th.
Today's the 14th. I only know because it says in the top corner of my Sweet.
Okay.
Cool. So this is our first blog post.
Yay.
And now we're going to do this 2 more times. So you probably don't have to make them like actually this detailed. We'll have one that like sort of shows some of the different markdown formatting, but for the other ones, you can just make it like the front matter and just put like a sentence or something, just in the interest of time.
Okay. All right. So it might possibly save us time to copy.
There you go.
And paste and call this some other poem, a second poem.
Yeah, there you go.
And we'll pretend we did that 2 days ago.
Nice.
And well, I'm just going to leave the same text. Sound good?
Can you swap it out? Swap it out just with like, hi, my name is Kirsten or something, just so that we can see the differences.
Sure. God. Okay.
I'm checking out the chat. Raycode says hipster lorem is the best. I haven't used that one, but I have heard of that, and that seems funny. And then John Hansen Artist is here. Hello.
Hey.
They say MDX is easier than YAML, although I think these are still more developer friendly than client content provider friendly, though there's other plugins for that. Yeah, so if you have like other people who are writing your content for you, let's say you have like a marketing team, it might be easier to have another source plugin that like pulls in that data from WordPress or Contentful or someplace that where they can write content without like needing to commit it to your repo. So yeah, that is a good point.
We'll pretend we did that on the 10th.
Sweet. Beautiful.
Okay. I'm going to get less creative now. Okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
All right, cool. So it's really easy for us to see what we did.
Yep. And it's going to be sort of a like slow burn where we're not going to see this rendered for a little while. But when we do, it'll be great. Cool. And we'll think back to this moment and be like, look at all this great stuff Kirsten wrote.
Perhaps.
Okay, cool. So we've got some blog posts now. Woo-hoo. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to try and see this in graphical. Well, actually, sorry, I lied. There's something that we have to do first. So now we've got all of our blog content, but our Gatsby site doesn't know anything about MDX, what it is, how to process it. So to fix that, we're going to have to add some more plugins. So there's 3 plugins that we're going to need to install. Kirsten, I can't remember. Were you on? I know you've done one of these episodes with us before. Were you on the plugin episode? Or were you on the episode before that? Yeah, I think it was Santa Rosa, actually.
I was 2 times ago.
Okay.
So
I guess, this is sort of putting you on the spot, but do you remember how to how to install a plugin? Or anybody in the chat? Does anybody in the chat know how to install a plugin?
What I would have to do is sort of cheat. No, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. No, that's totally fine. So if you well, I guess you can leave your develop server up. If you open up a new terminal window, yeah, you can click that little plus sign in the bar in the middle. Yeah.
Oh, slick. Cool. Okay.
Right? I know, it's nice.
Yeah.
So the way that we're going to do this, we need 3 plugins. So we need a plugin. We need like the gatsby-plugin-mdx, which is going to be the transformer plugin that converts our file nodes into MDX nodes.
Yep.
And then we're also going to need two MDX packages, which basically like let the Gatsby plugin MDX use the MDX like functions and formats.
Okay.
So I'm going to copy paste a line into the chat. So the way that you're going to do this is by running npm install and then the name of the 3 plugins. So it's going to be gatsby-plugin-mdx.
Okay.
You need a D, I think.
Oh, what happened there? Sorry about that. Okay.
There you go. No problem. And then, so that's the Gatsby transformer plugin.
Okay.
And then the 2 MDX plugins are going to be at mdx-js.
So I can just do this all in one command?
Yep. Yeah. You just give it a whole...
MDX, I'm sorry. MDX. Because I can't see what you're doing, so.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I'll just dictate it to you. mdx-js/mdx. Cool. And then a space for the last one. And this is going to be the same at mdx-js. but it's going to be /React instead.
All right.
Sweet.
Do it.
Okay. And then if you hit enter, that's going to install these.
There it goes. Ooh.
Oh, error.
Ruh-roh.
What does it say?
Okay. It's so hard to see everything. I'm going to expand it. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Okay. Sorry. I guess you did have a D in there, but it.
Oh, look.
You couldn't see it for whatever reason.
Well, that would explain a lot. All right.
So that's okay. If you just run it again.
Oh, I went too far.
Yeah. And actually, let me turn this.
There. So why does that? What? Look at that.
Yeah, that is weird.
Let's just run it and see what happens. Oh, wait, look, it didn't, you know, the up. Okay, there we go. The up thing doesn't work so well in,
that's weird.
In this terminal. So hold on one second. I'm going to copy it. See if we get better luck with that and paste it. And then. Okay,
yeah, you still need the NPM part. So it has to be NPM install. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Look, why is it only showing 1D there? That is super strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not quite sure.
That's just hit enter and let's see
if it works this time.
See what it says, yeah.
If this doesn't work this time, let's type it in fresh. This seems more promising though.
Well, it's at least like looks like it's thinking.
Yeah. Like we didn't even get this far last time, I don't think. So
yeah.
Okay. That was freaky.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more like what we expect. Okay.
Yeah. So now that line will add it. It's going to add those 3 packages to your package.json, and it's also going to add them to your node modules directory. So if you scroll down to dependencies.
Oops. Here's MDX.
Yeah, so there's our 3 plugins.
Oops.
Great.
Okay. All right.
So that is the first step. And now that we've got those installed, we have to tell our Gatsby site, hey, I want you to use this transformer plugin when you build the site. So the place that we do that is, trust your instincts, inside of the Gatsby config JS file.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah. So now at the bottom of this plugins list, if you scroll down, you want to go below this source file system. I don't know if the order matters, but I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Just put it at the bottom to be safe. Because I know some of the plugins.
So let's see. So after this right here. After that.
So if you do a new line.
Okay.
Yep. And then here you can just pass in gatsby-plugin-mdx.
And that's all we need because the other 2 are just.
Yep, because the other 2 are packages. They're dependencies they're packages that this plugin needs to be able to run.
Oh, because they're not.
But we don't actually have to add them to this plugin.
Because they're packages, they're not the plugin itself. Got it. Okay, save.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and so now if you go back to, so you can see when you change your Gatsby config file, Gatsby detects that there are changes and then restarts your development server so that so that you can actually use the plugin.
So that I don't have to run that command.
Okay, there's a question from Vuke.js. Which plugins related to MDX are installed? So I guess I'll show it on the screen again. So this message is a little higher up in the chat. So you're going to install gatsby-plugin-mdx. That's the transformer plugin from the Gatsby side. And then MDX, these other 2 are like MDX packages that gatsby-plugin-mdx depends on. So that's this mdxjs/mdx and mdxjs/react.
I'm showing again the command we used.
Nice.
In the command line so you can see.
Sweet. Well done.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now that we have our development server, looks like it's restarted. So the next step is to go into GraphQL so that now we can look at our new MDX nodes that are being created.
Okay. And we're going to need to do that over here, right? In the browser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, if you can make that browser window like a lot bigger, we don't have to look at the code for right now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So just make it like as big as it'll go, because the graphical interface is a little bit wide.
Let's see. That's at localhost 8000. And then it's 3 underscores.
Yep. And then you need to do slash. You need a slash first. Or sorry, a slash after the 8000.
Oh,
so
I'm
that
sorry.
Says like on port 8000, go to this page, which is 3 underscores, and then GraphQL.
Just like that?
Yeah, I think so. It's a little bit small, but
it's not graphical.
I think they might both work, because I accidentally typed graphical the other day and it worked. So
oh, well, that's good of them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if you were here last time for part 4, we talked a little bit about all of the different panes in this UI and like the different fields that we can query. So if you memorized the list of fields last time, you'll notice that there are 2 new ones here now that we've added gatsby-plugin-mdx.
Look at that.
Yeah. So you've got this all MDX field, which lets you query about multiple MDX nodes all at once. And then you've got MDX, which lets you query about one MDX node. So
nice.
For this time we're not going to use the MDX one. We're going to use all MDX because we're trying to get a list of all of our blog posts. So we can poke around in here. And then within all MDX, if you go into the nodes dropdown, yeah. So then this gives us a bunch of fields that we can ask for. So these are all of the different fields that are on an MDX node. So you can see that there's some stuff like body. We're going to use that a little bit later. But for now, you can see there's frontmatter. So if you toggle that, yep, all of the fields that you add into your frontmatter will show up in here. So it doesn't matter what you name them. As long as they have a unique name, they'll show up in this list.
Nice.
And then there's some other stuff in here too, like a slug, which we'll look at next time. There's like table of contents for your different headings if you have headings in your posts. Oh, cool. There's time to read. They like estimate how long it'll take somebody to read your post. So there's a lot of cool stuff in here.
That's very nice.
Yeah, for now we only care about the title and the date from the front matter. So let's select both of those. I'm looking at the chat. Ray Code said devs being like, everyone knows Markdown, right?
Yeah. Right? Everyone, I'm always like,
if you don't, this is the place to learn.
I'm so old school. I'd rather write HTML. That's how weird I am.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And that's the beauty of the internet is there's like all things for all people. Okay. So see, when you clicked the date tag or the date field, it added these extra purple arguments underneath it. So that is because of the way that we formatted the value of the date front matter. Cool. So because it has that like year-month-day format, I don't know if it's graphical or Gatsby. They know that that's supposed to be a date. And so they give you some extra options for how to format the date if you want to like have it be locale specific. We're going to use the format string.
I was thinking.
So actually here, let's hit the play button first to run and see just what this looks like.
Okay.
So you can see here, we get back the dates for all of our posts and the titles, but the dates come back in the format that we typed them in. That personally, I like it when it says this like July 14th, 2021, instead of this sort of like robot-y looking number. So to make this more human readable, there's this format string argument on the date field. So if you click that, you'll see that like a pop-up, or it gives you like a field where you can add a string. And that string is going to take, it's called a Moment.js formatting token. Moment.js is like a library. And the token is just going to have some different symbols that you can use to specify the format that you want to display that date as.
Cool.
So I'm going to pull up a link from the tutorial. Whoops. And drop that in here. Oh, John Hansen Artist is pro at the date formatting. John Hansen Artist, what date format should we use? You can pick. Whatever is your favorite. But yeah, in the chat, I dropped, actually, let me switch to my screen real fast. I dropped a link to this page from the Mdx Docs. So it has a bunch of different like tokens that you can use and sort of shows you how that token will affect the way that that part of the data is displayed. So like, I really like when it uses the full name of the month. So I would put like MMMM, 4 M's. And then you can combine a bunch of these. So like there's month, day of the week if you wanted that. So you can change the way that it will display your date. So here you can see that it's using the four lowercase d's, which is the full day of the month or day of the week. And then has those 4 M's, which has the full month. This DO, which shows you like the number of the day, but also with this, the like TH or the ST at the end. And then has the year, and you can even like get down to like time of day. We don't have that, so we can just do this first part. How does that sound, Kirsten?
Sounds good to me. I'm not seeing it. I didn't switch over, so you'll need to.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
So I will drop this in the chat for the folks who are.
And you just tell me what to put in.
Along. Yeah, and then I will switch back to your screen. Okay, so in between that, in between those strings, we're going to do 4 lowercase d's, and then a comma, and then a space, and then 4 uppercase m's, and then a space.
Look at that. I think it's my keyboard being freaky. Okay. And then a space. Okay.
And then a capital D and a lowercase o. So it says like do. And then another space. And then 4 capital Y's.
Nice.
Sweet. So now if you hit play again and then watch the date field in the response, you'll see that it should change. There you go.
How lovely.
Yeah, so that lets you, in your GraphQL query, you can get the format, you can format the date into the way that you want it to display on your site. So you don't have to do any of that sort of calculation in your UI, which is nice. It gives you back really exactly what you want in the format that you want it.
That's really neat.
Yeah, kind of fun.
Yeah.
So now we've got our date and our title, but we also want some other information about our blog posts as well. The goal for today is to get all of our blog posts to render on that blog page. So title, date, what was the other thing I was going to say? The body, the contents. So before we add the body, let's add the ID.
Okay.
Because when we loop over these, we're going to want to have a key, a React key that we can add. And actually, Dan Abramov just tweeted about React keys like today. So let me drop a link to that. He's got a really nice explanation of how React keys work. And basically, the point of having a React key is to make it easier for React to know what stuff in your UI has changed. And so it can figure out like what it needs to re-render. Because if it can't tell what changed, it'll just like re-render everything. So this helps you like optimize stuff.
Oh, cool.
But to have a React key, you need to have something that's unique. And so for us, this ID field that gets added, every node in the data layer will have an ID field added to it automatically. And this is just like a generated, I think it's a string, but it's got like a bunch of characters in it that uniquely identify this particular node. So if you check that box and then run your query again, you can see,
there it is.
Yeah, so now you've got this like ID that you can use to uniquely identify each particular node, which is exactly what we want for a key.
Neat.
Okay, cool. So we've got all of this stuff. And then the last thing that we need to add is the body. And this is going to be the actual contents of our blog post. So if you check that and then run it, you'll see this big old mess in here. Yeah. So this to a human looks like nothing. But this is actually the compiled MDX content. So this is not a format that is readable for a human, really. I mean, I guess sort of if you get down to here where the actual like characters of your blog post are.
But it's rendering HTML. Got it.
Yeah. So basically, this is the format that that the Gatsby plugin MDX plugin can understand and render on in your blog post or on your in your JSX.
I'm seeing my poem in there.
Nice. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this query and we're going to go and replace the page query that we have in our blog post. So instead of iterating over all of, or instead of using the all file field, we want to use this query that we made.
Nice.
Using the all MDX field.
So we'll copy
that.
Yeah,
you can copy that and then go back over to your blog page. Yeah.
And do we want the JS file? This is for the.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's going to be where we have our query. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see here. Yeah. So we're going to
just
copy
the whole
paste
shebang.
Replace. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Sweet. And then the other thing that you can do is delete that my query on line 19. You don't need a name for now. We're just sort of like deleting all of the query names.
Right.
So that's because if you have two queries with the same name, it gets mad.
All right, cool. So it's an anonymous query.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So, should I save?
So yeah, if you save this, you should get an error on your blog page because now if you scroll back up to the JSX part, or maybe you won't. That feels like a caching thing to me. I would have expected there to be an error.
I'm sorry, I haven't saved yet.
Okay.
Whoops. Hello, what? I clicked out of it, that's why. There we go.
There you go. See, so now you get an error. And if you scroll down to look at line 10, you can see that it's mad because all file, cannot read property nodes of undefined. So you're trying to get nodes off of the all file object or array.
Okay.
Or no, it is an object.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
But now all file doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So let's see. So I guess the first step can be to replace that all file with all MDX. And this is just following the structure of our query, right? So the response from our query will get run when your site is built, or sorry, your query will get run when the site is built. And then that is going to, it's going to take the response and inject it into your blog component as this data prop.
Should we change this to title?
So if you Almost. If you scroll back down and look at the query again, so you've got nodes. So a single thing in there is going to be a node. And then you actually have to go front matter title.
Okay. Whoops. I only want this. Thank you. Okay. So
sweet. Oh, looking at the chat, show the code exporter. It's much clearer what's what. Okay, good idea. Can you go back to, so inside of graphical, there's another like part of the UI that we haven't looked at yet. If you, make this window big again. So if you click on that code exporter button that's in the menu at the top. Yeah, so this will show you.
Very nice. Oh my God, that's really nice.
This shows you like what the code will look like.
Neat.
Yeah, so if you wanted to like copy, it's going to do the same thing that we did basically, where it just copies out the code for your query and dumps it into your like page query. And then it does some other stuff. I don't want to copy the whole thing because we've already got like our component name set up and like part of the DOM structure. But yeah, this is a really helpful tool. If you were starting a new component from scratch, you could just copy this whole thing into a new file, change the, component name and whatever other fields that you want, and then be good to go.
Very cool.
Pro tip. Thanks, John Hansen.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Back over in VS Code, we want to save this now. Yes.
Yeah. So we have our key. Node ID. So we're using the node ID as our key, which is great.
Okay.
And then we've got our title, which is displaying now. So yeah, let's look at what this looks like in the browser.
Just to be clear, when I changed this from all data or whatever it was to all MDX, did it automatically add this map statement?
No, that was already there before. So this map was what we were using before to map over all of the file names, or to map over all the file nodes.
Okay.
And then
like, that's really magical.
The name. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this is part of why I was like, oh, let's just keep what we have here instead of copy pasting.
Okay, we will do the saving now. Ready?
Sweet. Yeah. So now if you go to the browser, hopefully this will.
Oh, I did it again. Bear with.
Wrong window.
It still doesn't like line 10. Probably some crazy.
Did you refresh it?
Let's try a hard refresh.
There we go.
Caching madness.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we've got our post names are showing up. So this is a good start. So we've rendered the title of our post, but we want to have like the whole thing, like the post title, the date, the contents. So let's add in those other things now.
Nice.
So far we've got. And actually, it might be easier to do this on multiple lines. So right now, can we break up line 11 so that it's like you've got the LI and then the node front matter title would be on its own line?
Okay.
So like the stuff is inside of the curly brackets.
So do we want to start it there? Like that?
You can keep that one on the same line.
Oh, right. Because it's.
But I want the front matter. Yeah, I want like the title on its own line. Sweet. And then you can put the closing LI also on its own line.
Okay.
You'll have to keep.
I did that in the wrong
bracket.
place.
Yeah. There we go. This is how we learn.
That is much nicer to look at. Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and especially because we're going to start adding in some other stuff in here as well.
Yep.
So we're going to sort of. Well, let's drop the data in here first, and then we can go back and clean up the semantic HTML.
Okay.
So if you put in a new line and then a new set of curly brackets, we also want to render the date. Yeah, so that'll be inside of node. Yep, also inside of front matter. And then dot date. Sweet. And then the body we will get to in a bit. So we'll do that. We'll do that later. So if we save this and render, or save this and reload our blog page. Cool. So you can see that our stuff is showing up there, but it's not super well formatted. So let's clean that up next.
Okay.
So one change that I'm going to suggest that we make is instead of rendering this inside of a UL, so on line 9 and 16, because a UL is good for like a bullet list, but because we are going to have like longer sets of content, I'm going to recommend that we change this instead. So we don't render stuff in a UL. So you can delete.
Just get rid of that altogether?
Yeah. Delete line 9 and line 16.
Yeah. Oops. I'm going to blame this on my magic mouse pad. Okay.
No problem.
Right.
And then instead, we're going to wrap the on line 11, instead of using an LI, we're going to use an article element. Okay. So an LI is like a list item for something in an ordered list or an unordered list. But an article is good for like a self-contained section of your page. Yeah, so you can actually just change the LI. So on line 10, just change the LI to
this
say
here.
Article.
Oh, I changed the wrong thing to article. Excuse me. Getting ahead of myself. Okay. getting ahead of yourself. Okay. Let's do it the right.
There you go. And then if you change that one as well.
There we go.
Cool. So now if you refresh the page, or I guess save that and refresh the page, your list should go away. Nice.
Yeah.
And then we need to clean up the HTML. Like right now, we don't have any HTML elements. Yeah. So let's wrap our, let's see, our title. We want our title to be like a prominent thing. So we already have the H1 tag for this blog. So the next level would be H2s. So let's wrap the title in an H2 element.
Okay. Is there a way in VS Code to make it just wrap it? Like if I select it, or no, that would, I don't know. That would replace it. Okay. Okay.
Okay. And then this date, let's see, the date probably doesn't need to be as prominent as the title. So we can probably just make this a P tag.
Okay.
And then do the same thing. Yeah. Move that to the end.
Yep.
Okay. So now let's save this and then refresh. And sweet. This is already looking so much better. Wonderful. So the last thing that we have to do for this part is render the actual contents of our post. And so if you, well, I guess just to see, let's start by trying to do what we did before and just render like node.body and see what happens.
Like right after the article, or inside the article?
You want it to be inside of the article because the article is like the container that's wrapping your whole post.
So node.body.
Yeah. And let's just see what this does. Gross. So we don't want to just render this MDX, the compiled MDX directly, because the browser doesn't know what this is. It's just going to try and render it all as text, which is not helpful.
Neat.
So the gatsby-plugin-mdx plugin has a component that it exports called Mdx Renderer. And that is a component that knows how to read this compiled MDX and put it into a format, basically like convert it into the HTML that your web browser can understand. So if you go up to the top, we're going to import this component. So yeah, on a new line, you can import, and then it's going to be a named export. So yeah, put it inside of the curly brackets. Okay. And then it's going to be MDX, all capital. And then, yeah, capital R renderer.
Fun. Yep. Oh, that is so nice. Okay.
Yeah, and so it automatically completes that for you. So you are now importing MDX renderer. from gatsby-plugin-mdx.
It's sort of grayed out. Do we know why that might be?
Yeah, so
we haven't used it. Okay.
Yeah, when you have imported something but it's not being used in your file, it will gray it out. But
is that a TypeScript thing?
No, I think it's just VS Code. It's just trying to help you and be like, hey, this is maybe a line that you could delete.
Okay.
But we need it. So now that we have this component imported, we have to use it inside of our JSX. So if you scroll down, what we're going to do is basically, instead of wrapping our node.body in like an H2 or a P tag, we're going to wrap it inside of that Mdx renderer component.
Cool.
So you can add like an opening tag. It'll be
like that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
And then you'll type Mdx renderer.
Oh my God, look at that. Select this one right here.
Yeah. And then,
beautiful.
Yeah, so close
her up.
The closing thing.
Oh, neat. Okay, whoops. Come on now. All right. Sweet. And that goes after. Wow. Save?
Yeah, save.
Let's do it.
And now if we go back to the browser, there she is. Hello.
Look at that. Looking
And
good.
you can see here that now, remember when I said we're going to look back at this MDX content that Kirsten wrote and how beautiful it is? This is that moment. We've made it. So you can see here the formatting stuff that we've added. There's the italics. There's bold stuff. There's our list gets rendered as a nice bulleted list. What else do we have? I think those are the main things that we added.
Neat.
But yeah.
That's so cool.
We did it.
Yay. I have to do something. I have to do it.
Yeah, go for it.
I have to finish the poem.
Oh, well done. Okay, while you're typing that, I'm going to look at what John Hansen Artist said. Use a new line, and when you close a tag, hit enter. And then you alt an arrow key to bring the content inside. Oh, this is for automatically putting the closing tag at the end. Oh, that's nice. Cool. We'll have to try that.
Now, when I saved my update to my blog post, it did sort of an interesting thing. It reordered it at the bottom, which I'd be like, oh, okay, because it's newest, but these are actually not in order now.
Yeah, this is a great point. And actually, I forgot to do this when we were setting up the query. So the way that we can change this is in graphical. So if you go back to graphical,
okay.
Yeah, so if you scroll up in the Explorer pane, you can click the
I just
top
closed
right.
that. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now if you scroll all the way up, so see these purple fields at the top of the all MDX field, or sorry, I guess these are arguments, the purple things. So there's a sort argument.
There
and
she
if you toggle that, you can see it added it in the what is this? The like code builder section, the like middle pane on line 2, it added that sort argument to the all MDX field.
Lovely.
Yeah. So now you're going to check both of these boxes, the fields and the order.
Okay.
And fields basically says what field on this node do you want me to sort them all by? And so if you open that drop down, if you just click on raw body, it should open the drop down.
Oh, I just can't see it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Because the pane's all
yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
it.
Yeah, so this is all the different fields on your MDX nodes. And so we want to sort them by front matter. Instead of a dot, it's got these like underscores and then the date. Yep. So if you press play here, you can see if you drag the third pane, make the result window bigger again.
Oh, right.
There we go. So now it's hard to see.
12, 14. Okay.
So what it's doing now is putting the
The 10th?
Oldest stuff at the top.
Yeah. Here's the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Speak,
No.
Megan.
No, you're all good. It's good to like show people what's going on. Okay. So now we've got this sorting oldest to newest, but most blog sites show the newest stuff at the top. So if you want to do that, you can switch this order. Yeah, from ascending to descending.
Yeah, baby.
And then switch. Yep. And then there you go. The 14th is at the top. And then if you scroll down to show that again, just to double check. 12th. Yep.
And there's the 10th.
Hooray.
Yay.
Cool.
So,
now you'll have to
the query.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So copy this whole thing.
Yep.
Okay. And then we go back to that bad boy
back
right
in
there.
The blog page. And then go down to the query.
It's down here. Okay.
Yep.
And just the whole thing from query, starting from query, right? All the red.
Yep.
Okay. Except for the single quote. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can delete the query name again.
Oh, it does it every
so
time?
That we don't.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sweet.
In the pane so we can see it all nice and pretty.
Okay. So now it'll have to rebuild, but there you go. Now it just swapped them all around to be in order.
Yay!
Hooray. Well done, team. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll through the tutorial real fast to see if there's anything that I skipped. One thing that we didn't talk about that is sort of, I don't want to call it an advanced topic, but it's like a pro tip. So we talked about, actually here, let me share my screen again. So we talked about how transformer plugins create new nodes based off of existing nodes. So our Gatsby plugin MDX looks at the existing file nodes and creates new MDX nodes from those. There's actually something, I'm just going to scroll down to find it. Pardon me. There's something called a parent field, which gets added, that transformer plugins create this parent field on the new nodes that they're making, so that if you want to access something from the original file node, you can still do that. So like in this particular example, we're looking at, you're still using the all MDX query, but you're selecting the parent node to get the modified time, which says like when that file was changed, which could be useful if you wanted to do something like adding this post was last updated this date or whatever. You could have this figure that out automatically rather than needing to like hard code it in your front matter every time. So I'm going to switch back to you. And then if we could look at that in graphical, just to show, I think it's a little bit easier to see how that works in graphical than it is to just look at the query.
Okay.
So inside of nodes, if you scroll down.
Let's see here. Within all MDX?
Yep. So inside of all MDX, inside of nodes, there is this, and actually, can we uncheck the body for now, just because that adds a lot of stuff. So if you go, see how there's this parent field? You can click that.
Ooh.
And then there's these like different node types that you can ask about. So our parent, I think if you click on internal and then, what is it? Type. And then run this query, and let's look at what comes back. Yeah, so see how you can see now that the parent node is a file node. So in order to get information off those fields for our parent node, you can click the file, that yellow file field. And then, yeah, so now here you can get information about like using the fields from the parent file node. So if you wanted to do that, like date modified, there is a modified time.
Right there.
Yep, so you can click that. Yeah, and then you could do the same sort of thing because it knows how to handle dates. So you can format the string the same way. Let's get rid of the ID and the name just to keep it short. Or actually, I guess you can leave the name because why not? And then if you run this query.
I run it and then I'll expand this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can see the parent node. It shows you the time that the file was modified.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, so if you wanted to, you could use that inside of your JSX.
Neat.
Yeah, so that's sort of a pro tip. You won't need it for this one unless you want to add that like last updated feature. But yeah, it's something that comes in useful down the road if you work on more like complicated projects.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now you know.
So these things like where it would estimate the reading time, that's a thing that the plugin brings to the party?
Mm-hmm.
That's
yep.
nice.
I don't know how it does it. I assume that it's based on like word count or maybe character count.
That's a nice touch.
Right? It's kind of fun. So that's a cool thing about Transformer plugins is they let you manipulate data on existing nodes and like customize them to put them into whatever sort of format that you want.
Cool.
So I will plug the plugin library real quick. So if you wanted to learn about other Transformer plugins, you can come to the plugin library, which is just gatsby.js.com/plugins. And then the normal convention, like the typical convention for Transformer plugins is to name them with Gatsby-Transformer-whatever. Gatsby-plugin-mdx is an exception to that. I don't know why it's named differently, but you can see that there's other kinds of things in here. So Gatsby Transformer Remark, or sorry, Gatsby Transformer Sharp for image processing and stuff like that. Gatsby Transformer Remark. This one is actually cool. There are a bunch of like Remark plugins that you can use on top of Gatsby plugin MDX to get extra features in your Markdown. So things like syntax highlighting for your code blocks. There's one that lets you add like the title of a page or of a file to the code block. We use that a lot in the tutorial so that your code block can show you like, let's just look at it. So that like this one shows you the name of a file on top of the actual code block. So for those, you can look at Gatsby-Remark, and then that'll show you a bunch of different kinds of Remark plugins that you can add.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so if you decide that you want to use one of these, you'll have to change the way that that you've configured Gatsby plugin MDX in your Gatsby config file. But the Gatsby plugin MDX README has more information about how to do that. It's like this section about Remark plugins.
Oh, cool.
So we'll drop that in the chat. Yeah, that's all we've got for you today. What questions do folks have? Let me switch back to. Or what questions do you have, Kirsten?
I I think I've asked the couple questions that were occurring to me while we were going through it, like
nice,
just a curiosity about the reading time thing, which I thought was really neat. So
yeah, totally. Lots of fun.
Yeah, this was really fun.
Yeah, you did a great job. Well done. And now you know a little bit about Markdown and MDX.
Yes. Well, now I see why people like Markdown. It's sort of dawning on me as we do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like my brain now thinks mostly in Markdown. I try and use it in like Slack all the time, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I use a little in Slack, right? There is some Markdown in my life.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I do like.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. Do we have any things that we need to plug? Any stuff that's
I don't have anything to plug today that I can think of.
No worries. So
go visit that cool 500 bottles promotion we got going on, which I don't know.
Let me find one. Gatsby.
You can win a limited edition cool Gatsby water bottle. All you got to do, it's just to show off the Shopify plugin, and something that our friend Paul built. Polydev, lots of people here know him, I think. If you spin, it's got a spinner. If you spin it, you have a chance to win a certain number. It's like 30 or something we're giving away a day. So go have some fun.
I dropped a link to the site, to the 500 bottles site, and also to Paul's blog post that he wrote about it.
You're like Gandalf with those links. You're just like...
It's just, you can't see my Googling tab. Sweet. So thank you everybody for joining. We'll be back with another episode of Megan's Coding Corner in 2 weeks. Let's see, what's the date? So that'll be on Wednesday, the 28th, to do part 6. So part 6 is going to be all about the file system route API. So now that we've got all of our blog posts on one blog page, the next step is to split that out so that every blog post can have its own page. So we'll learn how to do that.
Got to do that. And next week, the one just for next Wednesday is going to be about more about the Shopify plugin for those who work with Shopify or want to or whatever, and will involve I think it'll involve we'll do a little fun with that 500 bottles, talking about how that got built.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hooray. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for attending, everybody. It's always good to see all of you.
See you next time.